Well, today what we have here is an opportunity to actually have a conversation with somebody I met by being a podcast guest for her, and then she came on and became part of this TVP process, the TVP maiden voyage process, TVP1, the True Voice Podcasting. And Charissa Sims has been a major superstar inside of that process of helping us take a number of people, the people you're meeting today, from zero to zero to podcasting. And so these are people who have found their true voice, at least got more access to their true voice in the last few weeks, and then are delivering it effectively into the world. And Chris has been at the forefront of that for the course. And even before she met me. And Chris, it's just a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for being with us, for being just a mentor, and then being a superstar with respect to that, being able to spotlight your own goods, your own self for the summit. It's just wonderful to know you and to have you here with us.
Oh, thank you so much, Fred. And you know how we first got introduced? Mark Victor Hansen gave me your name and email. And I was like, oh, he sounds interesting. I went to your website and your perspective on mental health just blew me away. And then when we had the interview, I was like, oh my gosh, you are just incredible. And your philosophy towards helping others is just groundbreaking. And then you said you were doing this podcasting mastermind. And I was like, well, I already have a podcast, but there's something in my heart that said, go with him. Just do it. And so I just followed that. I didn't really follow like where I was at or what help I needed, but I actually did need the help that your mastermind provided, the TVP.
Awesome. That is really great. And I'm really glad you came along, and here we are at the summit already. And it's possible that as I'm speaking to Charissa, she's actually physically not only outside of the country, but in flippin' Egypt. And so
I'm quite the adventurer.
So that's what we're dealing with here. It's possible that you're catching a recording of her. So I'm going to ask Charissa, I'm going to ask you a few questions about what has been the experience through the True Voice Podcasting mastermind through the last several months. And where are you? Where are you? What are you left with? And then where are you going? And you can answer that in any order that you choose.
Yeah. So I would say in the beginning of the True Voice Podcasting Mastermind, I felt like I had it all going on. I was organized and everything, but the mastermind felt like chaos to me. And like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I'm here. And then as the program evolved, I really made some deep connections with some of the participants. And I found that I could guide them and also learn from them. And specifically, Jackie Simmons was amazing. And she had me on her show, on her suicide prevention show. And I actually revealed my own attempt to commit suicide when I was a child. And I had never shared that. And so it was like this journey that I really never expected to be on. And then when you started bringing on these experts, I was truly blown away. I mean, you really brought the cream of the crop for experts and what we could learn from them and what they've done in the past and how they've made money and how we can do it too. So I feel like, and now we're kind of going into the editing and being an expert on that. And I really felt like it evolved into a master class for podcasting. It felt like, oh, maybe I don't need to be here. This is easy. I've been here, to like, yes, there is so much more for you to learn. And I was truly blown away by the content of the mastermind.
Awesome. Well, that's fabulous. Thank you for that. Thank you for recognizing even the chaos in the beginning. The chaos in the beginning was, sometimes you got to shake it up in order to get to the other side of wherever you're going. And, chaos is a natural occurrence of breaking new ground. because it's by definition not anything like where we've been, and it looks
A
like
beautiful reframe.
yeah, it really is. You know, it really is. And the chaos itself was, you know, something that we all sort of walked through, and then got to a space where many of us, you know, myself included, got grounded in a whole new idea of the power of podcasting and the capacity to deliver effectively into a world that is really waiting to hear what we have to say. So, where are you going with this now? What is up with your podcast? What kind of shifts have taken place? You can tell our audience a little bit about your podcast and what is the future of your podcast at this point?
Yeah, I love that question because it has been such a journey for me. So I would say, okay, so in 2019, I started my podcast and it's called You Inspired.
Yeah.
And I interview inspiring people that have great stories. And I also do a meditation or healing at the end of each podcast episode. And when I first started, well, I'll have to tell you a story also about how I got started because it's kind of amazing. I had this thought that I wanted to do a podcast, and my husband was working with a podcast mic company, Rode Mics, and he came home with a podcast mic for me. He's like, "Do you want this?" I was like, "Oh yeah, sure." So then I was like, I guess I need to start a podcast because it had been in my mind for a few months at that point. When I started, I would say I had no idea what I was doing. And my husband's an audio engineer, so he knows about editing. So he helped me edit, but I didn't really know how to post, where to post, all of that. So I was floundering for about 6 months, and I only had a few episodes here and there, very inconsistent. And then something shifted in me where I finally got into a flow of editing. I didn't realize I could hire people at this point, to edit all of it and do all this for me. So I kind of learned just boots on the ground, getting down into it. And then I started realizing that I could interview some really powerful people. And so I had intention to eventually interview people like Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen, and really people that are making a difference in the world, that are famous, that could elevate my podcast to a whole new level. So I had that intention. And originally I was just interviewing my friends, anyone. I was desperate for interviews, to be honest. And then I got connected with this publicity expo, and I just said, I'm going to be media. So I said, I'm media for this show. And I got just amazing best-selling authors and guests, like an unlimited pool of resources.
Super great.
And then I interviewed this person, Tim Schur.
I know Tim.
You know Tim. Okay, great.
I was on a show. I've been on a show a couple times.
Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah. Magician.
And he's like, I really like your interview style. I'm going to connect you with people I know. And that's when I started interviewing famous people like Mark Victor Hansen and you. And it was really amazing how just one person can shift your whole destiny and what you're doing. And then I have to say, I'm still like excited. I love You Inspired. And during the TVP Mastermind, I had an idea in integrating business and spirituality because I'm a spiritual healer. I teach meditation and I work with corporations, but I thought of this idea, Zen success.
Love it.
Thank you. Move from force to flow. So that is going to be my new podcast that I'm going to be launching. And I'm so excited.
That's so great. And so thanks for sharing that with us. And we can't wait to be there with you. If you have something to say about people who are thinking about starting a podcast, or people who are thinking about, like, they haven't been there yet, but they like listening, or they maybe even a little clueless about what podcast, the power of podcast. What would you say to somebody who's like ready, willing, and able to start a podcast, but doesn't have a clue how to take those first steps?
Well, I would say First of all, if you're serious about this, find a mentor, find someone who's done it before, or sign up for Fred's class, TVP Mastermind, that has everything that you need all in one space. So I would say the first step in setting everything up is the most challenging. So if you can get some guidance on that, and then recording and editing and posting, and maybe you can outsource that, then all you need to do is book your guests, and they even have producers that are willing to do that. If you have the budget, then you can hire someone to book guests for you. I have a friend that has their own podcast, and they book guests for the podcast. So it's really great.
Yeah, you can go from anywhere from 0 to 100. You can do it all yourself, or you can do the little piecemeal stuff with other people who are distributors or who are post producers or editors or musicians who can buoy up your podcast. And it's not so hard to get started. So I'm so glad you're part of the True Voice community. I hope you continue to be as big a part as you've been. It's great to watch you grow and to be on the same be on the same wall as you grow, as we both grow as podcasters and mentors and teachers and learners in this really wonderful process of catching up with this platform. Thank you for being part of TVP. Thank you for being part of the summit. Thank you for, making it your business to pre-record before you leave the country. And I've just loved working with you. So thank you so much, Charissa.
Woohoo! And I would just say, go do it. Be a podcaster.
That's
Live your best life.
Thank you.